Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, help and guide us to make the best possible decisions we can make for the city and its citizens. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, Amber, roll call, please.
Young,
Here.
Meadows,
Here.
Coward,
Here.
Harville,
Here.
Elbert,
Here.
Venable,
Here.
Davis,
Here.
Atkinson.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, hearing of citizens' comments. Do we have anyone that would like to make a comment? Please come up, sign in. You have a 5-minute limit. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Approval of minutes from February 18. These start on page 3. If anyone has any corrections, please let me know. Seeing none, they'll stand as submitted. Moving on to consent items A and B. We'll take these in one motion. Change order number 1 for $0 to Rad Baker Construction for Hellridge Golf Course parking lot. And the second one is for the YMCA. Change order number 7 from GBH Builders. The GBH Builders total is right around $19,000. This is in Kate's memo, outlining some of the different changes we have. And these are our 2 consent items.
Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to make a motion we approve these consent items.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Susan. Comments, questions? Kate, how are we doing down at the YMCA?
The work continues. I mean, you know, they're on time and on schedule at this point in time. It's a big project. There have been just a few surprises along the way that, you know, we kind of have to stop and regroup. But we are moving along and they continue to work, and I think they'll be done when their contract's up.
On this change for Johnson Fieldhouse, is this a design change or is this just a troubleshoot?
It's more just, like I said, it's more just as we get into it and you start taking something up, and then all of a sudden you always plan for one thing, and then, oh, like you can't cut concrete, or it's a load. I mean, so whatever the thing is, oh, we have to move this panel. So it's mainly just as we've gotten there. They're not really, I mean, I guess they're design changes, but there's just as the conditions dictate.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Roll call.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Elbert,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Atkinson.
Yes.
Thank you. Presentations of accounts and claims on appropriations. This is found on page 12 of your packet. Amber?
Ordinance appropriating money. Be it ordained by the council of the city of Boonville as follows. Section 1, for the purpose of paying salaries in various accounts against the city of Boonville, which have been allowed by the council at the regular meeting thereof on March 3rd, 2025, the sum of $499,511.84. General fund, $132,925.55. Sanitation, $22,963.26. CIP tax, $46,351.41. Waterworks, $162,107.75. Capital project, $0.00. Wastewater, $103,405.06. Tourism, $2,532.38. Gaming, $23,569.68. Parks and Water, $5,656.75. Kemper sales tax, $0.00. Economic Development Project, $0.00. Section 2, the accountant is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks on the respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $499,511.84, being the total amount of money being appropriated. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage, first reading, March 3rd, 2025, read for the second time, March 3rd, 2025, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading, title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Mayor Pro Tem, I move that we approve this ordinance.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Roll call.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Hilbert,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Atkinson.
Yes.
Thank you. Part 7, unfinished business, we have none. Moving on to Part 8, new business. First reading, bill number 2025-02, approving the budget for fiscal year 25-26. This begins on page 13 in your packet.
An ordinance accepting and approving the budget for the City of Boonville, Missouri for the period of April 1, 2025 through March 31, 2026.
Thank you. Item B, first reading of bill number 2025-03, ordinance amending the water rates, ordinance amending the rates for water and wastewater service portions of the Schedule of Administrative Fees, Appendix G. This is found on page 85.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri amending the water service rates and wastewater service rates portion of the Schedule of Administrative Fees, Appendix G, in the Code of General Ordinances, providing an effective date therefore and repealing parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Thank you, Amber. Item C, consider resolution 2025, it states -06, this is actually 2025-04, authorizing and approving an agreement with Missouri Department of Transportation for a cost share program. This is regarding the roundabout at the McDonald's interchange.
A resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri authorizing and approving an agreement between the Missouri Department of Transportation and the City of Boonville, Missouri pertaining to cost share program and providing an effective date therefore. Whereas the City of Boonville applied for Missouri Department of Transportation cost share funds to support the construction of a roundabout at Main Street, Highway B, and Americana. And whereas the City Council, the Regional Transportation Committee, and Missouri Department of Transportation have all identified this intersection as an area needing improvements for traffic flow and safety. And now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that a certain agreement between the Missouri Department of Transportation and the City of Boonville, Missouri relating to cost share program, a copy of which is marked Exhibit A, is attached hereto and made a part hereof, is hereby approved. Section 2, that the city administrator and the city clerk are hereby authorized to execute and attest said agreement on behalf of the City of Boonville. Section 3, this resolution will take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval past this 3rd day of March 2025 by the City Council of Boonville, Missouri.
Thank you. Do we have a motion on the resolution?
I move that we approve it.
Thank you, Susan. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Whitney. Questions, comments? The contract can be found on page 90 in your packet. There's also on page, if I get there, 97, there is a rendering of what the roundabout will look like.
Is there a date that work's supposed to start on it, or a timeline?
So the way this works, the way the cost share program works, is that we have to give the money at the time of letting. So this is being let as a part of the design bid build of I-70. So what we're anticipating is they're gonna let it in probably late fall, early winter 25. So October, November, December, with the hope that construction will be 26.
Kate, I think we covered this, but can you remind me on how they divvy up who pays for this or the percentages? Because my understanding that's a state road that intersects a city road.
Yes, so the cost share program is a 50-50 match. And the purpose of it, frankly, is that in the scheme of the MoDOT prioritization for Central District, this likely would not rise to the level of being done because of other maybe more pressing needs in their road system. And so the 50-50 match is a way for us to help contribute to get this project moving.
Thank you.
It's okay.
It is?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Roll call.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Elbert,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Atkinson.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. We're gonna add a new business, item D, authorizing and approving a commercial lease. This can be found, I think.
It's in their packet,
In the
so it's
packet. I have a hard copy here. This is a commercial lease for the office space between, the city and the Cooper County Prosecuting Attorney. Just to let everyone know that this has been an office in use, by the Cooper County Prosecuting Attorney for several decades. And, this is just an update to that.
A resolution of the City of Boonville authorizing a commercial lease agreement with Office of the Prosecuting Attorney of Cooper County at 422 East Spring Street, Boonville, Missouri. Whereas the Office of the Prosecuting Attorney of Cooper County desires to continue operations at 422 East Spring Street, and whereas previous agreements were Doug Alvey Law Office previously, and whereas Doug Alvey retired in December of 2024, and a new lease is now needed with the Office of the Prosecuting Attorney of Cooper County. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that the lease agreement between the Office of the Prosecuting Attorney of Cooper County and the City of Boonville hereto is Exhibit A is approved. Section 2, that the City Administrator and City Clerk are hereby authorized to execute and attest said lease agreement on behalf of the City of Boonville. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval past this 3rd day of March 2025 by the City Council of Boonville, Missouri.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Whitney. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Drew. And I didn't state it, but this is R 2025-07. Questions, comments?
Is it standard just for the year? Is that like?
We discussed that, Eric Phelps, prosecuting attorney, and I have gone kind of back and forth. The way we structured this was to see where we were in a year, gave them an option to extend for up to 4 additional consecutive years with an increase in rent at the end of the first calendar year. So
Okay, cool, thank you.
that was kind of in exchange for the renovations that we agreed to do.
Good question. Anything else? Roll call.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Harville,
Yes.
Elbert,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Atkinson.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Sorry, talking to myself.
Reports of standing committees.
None.
We have none. Moving on to reports of city officials. Mayor Pro Tem, I have none. City Administrator.
I don't have any additional comments.
Okay. City Clerk.
Nothing.
Okay. City Councilor.
Just very briefly, I think I was going to say what Drew had indicated in regards to that lease with the prosecuting attorney's office. I'd indicated to the council before, we've been working on that for several months. We get to check that one off the list now, and we're going to start working on the Hale Ridge Golf Course lease. So you saw in your packet, the lease for the prosecuting attorney's office begins April 1 for one calendar year, so we can kind of track that and see where we are next year when it comes budget talk time. So
Okay. Thanks, Brad. Okay. Mr. Developer, come on up, Jim.
Good evening, council. You have in your packet my report that I gave to the BCDC. Their report was 133 pages long, so I spared you that information. But as you can see under the attraction activity section, it's been a very active month, and what I can tell you is that I've added 4 more projects since this was printed out. So again, a very active month. I wouldn't get overly enthusiastic about that yet. So if you want to think about these just as lines in the water, if we're fishing, I don't know whether any of these will have a strike or not, but at least we're getting some lines in the water. So a very active month. The other thing I'll report is that, as you will recall, the developer met with you in a work session for the old Toastmaster building. Work is progressing on that, and I've been in active dialogue with that developer to bring back to you a Chapter 353 proposal. So that's been moving along. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
And is that the building down on 2nd Street?
Yeah, Second and Vine.
So that's the old corn cob factory?
Yep.
Correct.
Okay, sorry, you said Toastmaster, I wasn't familiar with that. I guess it was a Toastmaster building as well.
I think you have to
Sorry,
age,
you weren't-
I
you
think
weren't
you
in
have
town
to
yet.
age,
I haven't been here long enough, I'm sorry.
you have to age yourself by what you call a given building. But if you've driven by there, the developer is making, all the windows have been removed because he's replacing those, and he's gonna be starting on the roof here very quickly, I think, as soon as the weather allows. So, all right, thank you.
Great, thank you, Jim. Miscellaneous, do anyone have anything they'd like to bring to the floor? Yes, Barry?
I would like to talk about this water rates raising up. There's been several people, since I've been on Public Works Board, that came to the board and asked about reduction in their water bill. And I would like for the council to seriously think about the increase in these water rates, because I've been on there, Councilman Davis has been on there, and I'm sure he can attest, there's been several people come to the board about their increase, about the increase in the water bills. So I would like for the council to seriously think hard about increasing the water rates, because a lot of people have been complaining. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry.
I think I just want to point out one clarification, that most of the people that are coming from the Board of Public Works who are requesting their water rates, it's not just their regular bill, it's that they had a water leak or an issue, so they're requesting a rebate on the sewer portion, which is standard practice of the Board of Public Works, because if they're not adding to the sewer, then we will reduce that sewer bill due to a water leak. So it's not just, and I shouldn't speak for all people, some of the people maybe are complaining, but most of the reductions are due to a water leak. Does that make sense?
Yes. But what do you determine as a water leak? Can it leak down the back of the toilet?
Well, I mean,
I've had a
Jeff,
couple.
pretty much I think anyone could request a reduction, but for example, they just had one recently that the water bill was an extra, it was like a commercial type structure, was it extra $2,000 or $2,000? So it's usually a significant water leak that occurs, but I mean, Jeff could speak more to the size of them, but that is when they're requesting a refund or a deduction, it's those circumstances.
So do you need to do that up front?
What?
Request before you pay?
No, some people have paid, I think, and then they get,
Most people pay, then we reimburse them for the next bill, more or less.
Okay, I'll go talk to Jeff.
okay.
I had one lady that was out of town. She was in an older folks' home, senior citizen home, and she had her stool was running over. And she didn't know it. She's been gone for a whole month, and made her pay $600 some odd for the water bill. She was a senior citizen, and maybe perhaps we could gave her some help. You know, sometimes we got schools that let their water run, and we'll give them our helping break. But there's a lot of times that a lot of people that we just refuse to give them break because, well, it went down the sewer, you know, it's treated. But still, $625 for a water bill, that's
I
pretty
mean,
steep.
in that particular case, did they happen to go talk to the utilities
I
board?
think they talked to Jeff, didn't they?
Talking about Nate?
Yeah.
We actually gave her.
Did you give her a break?
I think they definitely give a break on waste though. Because that's not necessarily going back into the wastewater, right? We would give a break
It doesn't
on
go down the
that.
drain.
Yeah,
We
it
get
doesn't
credit
go-
back for a sewer bill, because they're not using the sewer system, if it's running out in the yard or something like that.
It's assumed if it's on your water bill, then it's gonna be charged on the waste bill as well. And if you're gonna give a break, you would give a break on the waste.
Yeah, on the sewer, end, yes, that's correct.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
And most of them are water leaks, Barry. I don't think we've ever had one that came in from just a regular water bill and said, my water bill's too high. Now, we have that all the time at the counter, right, but not actually in a Board of Public Works. It's usually a water leak that they bring to attention.
And I also just want to give some kudos to the water department. They do run reports for abnormal water usage. So sometimes it's our billing clerk saying, you've got a water leak because you used 5 times your usual amount of water. So we are also trying to help out customers if we see it. So they run those reports, I think, on a monthly basis to kind of see if anybody is using an abnormal amount.
Yeah, they do call.
Yeah, I'm not calling out anybody, but I was told, this was me, that they made Nettie White pay that bill.
We
gave her-
always make them pay it and then we do a rebate back.
I'll talk to Christina Barry, she'll tell you. That's who I actually did. I didn't know with Nettie because she wasn't there.
Yeah, she wasn't there.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm talking about, what about the schools? Did you give a water break to the schools when they had a break?
Yeah, not all of it, most of them.
Most of them,
In churches, we usually give a little help.
yeah.
Yeah, Barry, I know I was on that committee for over a year, and that was one of the, actually, I thought one of the more nice things that we did, and we were always very open to listening to people. And, you know, we've given breaks to all the way from individual residences up to, you know, I think, you know, Rick Ball Chevrolet asked for one because they had a water leak that went unnoticed. So I think they were very generous with that, and we certainly try to help anywhere we can.
I realize that, and it's, you know, I mean, what I'm trying to say is, we should not raise our water rates up right now, because they're already high, you know what I mean? We should seriously consider and think about not doing it this year, maybe next year, but not this year. Way things are in economy and way things are getting so high, price of eggs almost $10 a dozen, you know. We are seriously concerned about thinking about the citizens of Boonville and say, we won't do it this year. Maybe next year, but not this year.
We do it every year, or I
I
think
thought we just voted on it, right?
Hold on,
You'll
what is the
vote on
first
this
reading?
tomorrow,
Yes.
or
Okay.
next month.
Hold on one second. Yes, Susan, go ahead.
What's the impact if we don't raise it this year?
We'd have to go back and refigure our budget. You'd have to pull more out of your reserves. The bigger challenge is, you know, we said that our consumption is down, so we're already short. We're not gonna make the revenue goal of this year, so I'm not saying that I added to the budget. I'm just saying we're already down. So we'd have to look at what that would look like across the board. It's harder on the operational cost because it's not my advice to use reserves for operational costs because you've got to pay them year in and year out. But you guys have committed to doing, you know, some significant upgrades this year that, you know, I did outline already what we were taking out of reserves. We would just have to take more.
Yeah, and I guess it's always important to point out, which I agree with everyone, the water rates are going up, just like the chemicals are going up, the labor's going up, cost of living adjustments are all going up. So any increase that we take on water at the city level is just simply to cover costs. There is no revenue, there's no profit built into that. We're trying to just maintain a flat rate for quality water to the citizens and to make sure that we can do repairs in our water plant. Those are the two goals of any increase. So it's always important to keep in mind, and some people, there may be a misconception that we're taking exorbitant amounts in order to make money or make profit, and that's certainly not what we do within the water budget. And it's something we all feel. We're all consumers of this. So I totally agree, Barry. I know what you're saying. Every time I see my water bill, it's something I think about. But also we need to know that providing safe drinking water out of a good, safe plant that passes all those different things, that's the only reason we take the increases.
But we had a rate increase last year, I'm gonna say that, Kate, of 3 point something. So how much money did we make last year from what rate increase? And why couldn't we use that increase to pay for the, what we need to do with our water instead of raising the rates?
Well, the increase, just to put it in perspective, the 5.5% increase is not, it's only bringing in maybe, I wanna say, and for the whole budget of like 3.2 or 3.3, I don't have my whole budget, I can pull it up, but it's gonna maybe add another $170,000. So that $170,000 was already planned, or $150, whatever we had last year, has already been allocated in the budget for this year. So some of that does get rolled over that we didn't end up spending, like the lead service line. We also earmarked some money for, you know, the replacement of the water lines. But that money is getting rolled over, although we are not gonna make that revenue goal. So there is some shortfall. Shortfall isn't the right word to say. We obviously didn't spend all of what we thought because we didn't do the water lines yet, but so we didn't have as much to roll over into this fiscal year. And I just wanna make sure it's clear too that both the water, the sewer, and the sanitation funds, they're never, they don't go towards anything else also, so they do help, like in terms of they pay back the general fund for some of the services that the general fund provides, but it's not going to pave your roads or anything else. So it always stays, the reserves stay for important projects at the water department, whether it's the water plant or the infrastructure under the ground.
So we couldn't use something, do you have any more of the ARP money left over? Could we apply for any more funds or anything?
Unfortunately, funding, a lot of people are happy to give you a loan,
Yeah.
but there's not as much just grant money out there, particularly for this kind of infrastructure. The grant money that is available is oftentimes through the Community Development Block Grant Fund. But two things: one, it's typically for people who are on, as I call the naughty list with DNR. So it's sort of a way to say, we'll help you come into compliance by helping you to fund your necessary improvements. We're not on the naughty list, which is a good thing. I'd like to stay there. But also, it's often also meant for, or can be meant for, really small communities, a Bunston or a Pilot Grove that maybe has a significant project that costs maybe $1 million, but for them, it's very challenging to bring that money in. So we kind of fall in we're too big and our water's quality is too good to necessarily be a compelling candidate for some of those projects.
So what would our cost be if the city was to take over the water treatment plant versus Alliance? Could you give me what would the cost be difference? Would it be cheaper for us to do it or for them to do it?
No, it's still cheaper for them to run it in the long run. I'd have to go back, honestly, Barry, I can't remember off the top of my head on previous budgets, but primarily for us, it's cheaper to let them carry the personnel costs.
And we take care of the maintenance part of it.
Yes. And we work in tandem. They do some maintenance up to a certain amount themselves. And there's also a chemical allowance, so it's built into the cost. We only pay for chemicals when there's an overage. And for example, there was an overage in water, but not wastewater.
Yes.
And then also, if there's money that's not spent, we actually get it back from them.
Thank you, Kate.
Okay, thank you, Barry. Is there any other miscellaneous tonight? Seeing none, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.